Nimisha, Om Shanti. Welcome to today's session. And firstly, what we'll do a very short recap on yesterday's session. The main thing that we learned in yesterday's session is firstly, the meaning of the word Om Shanti. And the meaning is a very beautiful plus useful. It's not often that you can find something that is beautiful and useful, not only useful, but it also empowers us. So this is a word I'd like you to get used to. Say it to somebody, say it to yourself, Om Shanti. Or say, I am a peaceful soul. Practice it, try it. What you will see is the calmness that comes because you've slowed down the speed of your thoughts. Then it's once the calmness comes, the second thing is you're able to create the thoughts of your choice. You're not a slave to thoughts. You're not a victim, but you are creative, means you create the thoughts that are useful, beautiful, and empowering. So, yesterday we looked at the 4 types of thoughts. 2 you would be very familiar with, the negative and the positive. And I know for myself that whenever something happened, something drastic, something negative happened, and if I shared it with somebody, and if somebody said to me, be positive, that would make me more angry. I would find that so patronizing. They're telling me to be positive, and if they were in that same situation, would they be positive? So we need to learn the distinction between negative and positive, because sometimes it can get very clouded. Sometimes we're not able to differentiate between negative and positive. What do I mean by that? I mean that supposing somebody lies to me, somebody tells me a lie, and I get angry. So we think our anger is righteous. We think it's obvious. We say to the other person or to another person, we say, obviously I got angry. They lied to me. So we don't feel that what I've done is wrong or negative or damaging. If somebody said to us, be positive, we would wonder, what is positivity? How can I be positive in a negative situation? How can I be positive when I'm surrounded by negativity, negative people, negative situations? So I'm going to give you one guideline that how to know if I'm having a positive thought, if my way of thinking is positive. And that guideline is, when it comes to thoughts and behavior, or let's say when it comes to thoughts, words, and actions, because these are the 3 things that we do, thoughts, words, actions, then ask yourself, whatever you're thinking, is it bringing you closer to your original state? Now you might think, well, what is my original state? I will tell you from now, and we will discuss it in great detail in the next couple of lessons. The original state or stage of the soul, of the being, is peace, happiness, love, wisdom, purity, power, bliss. This is the original state of the soul. You'll say, give me proof. We've never heard it before. I've got degrees in whatever, whatever, and I've never heard what you're saying before. You will see that these qualities, these virtues, are what we are actually striving for in life. We are striving, we are struggling, we are working for happiness. We want peace. We even want love. These qualities that I mentioned, the soul is looking for them. But the problem is that we are looking out there. We have become a culture in which three things are happening. We are earning, we are spending, and we are acquiring. Earning, spending, acquiring. Then, when this doesn't satisfy us, when this makes us still want more, then we wonder, what is the purpose of life? Is this the purpose of life? To earn, to spend, and to acquire? Today, now in a short while, we're going to take up one question. That question is an eternal question. It's a question which has been around since thousands of years. And if I know the answer to that question, then I will experience freedom. Then I will experience a liberation. It's a very simple question, and yet humanity is struggling to answer that question. The question is, who am I? Who am I? Am I this physical body made of flesh and bones, which is born and dies? Am I the name that my parents have given to me? Am I the profession that I am working so hard in? Am I the wife or the husband? So then that means if there isn't, supposing I say, well, I'm a wife. So if that husband isn't there, then am I not anything without the other person? Am I something in my own right? Am I something after I have died? So today we're going to look at who am I? Now, we are all called one thing. Every person in this world is called a human being, regardless of their gender, regardless of their age, regardless of their culture, regardless of the country they're born in, regardless of the profession, regardless of their intellectual capacity, regardless of their physical capacity. We are all called human beings. We know a lot about the human, about this physical body. We know so much that it's like there are encyclopedias out there about this physical body. And it's very essential that I know about the physical body because I have to take care of it. I have to adorn it. I have to keep it healthy. There is something that maybe you know already, but I will revise it because there are many people who have not heard it in the context that I'm going to share it today. The human is made of 5 elements. This human is called matter, and it's made of 5 elements which also belong to matter. Matter is something that is tangible, it's visible. We have all studied matter in school or whatever. So this body is made of water. In school you would have studied, body is 70% water. Air, so water, air, fire, earth, ether. These are the 5 elements what this body is made of. The beauty is that there's a principle behind this, and that principle is whatever the body is made of, that is what it demands, that is what it requires, that is what it needs. It cannot manage without these 5. For example, for how many days can you manage without water? For how many days or minutes can you manage without air? We can't. I find it so, it's a paradox that when now in COVID, people, those who are suffering from COVID, they will say they felt they couldn't breathe and they are put onto ventilators, they're given oxygen. Something which is so freely available, we are now struggling for it. And so, water, air. We can't even manage a few minutes without air. The third one, fire. Where is the fire in this body? Where is the fire? How many of you have ever had a heavy meal and then said, I need to burn my calories? Look at the word we're using, burn. I need fire to burn. And so when we become active, then we are creating, or we are, what do you call it? That fire. We are in, what's the word? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We are, God, we are pumping, pumping is not the right word, but we are increasing the fire through our activity, exercise, even walking. Simple activity helps create that fire. So the fire is within the stomach. It helps to burn the food that we've had. The other place where there is heat or fire in the body is our body temperature. Our body temperature, that even if it's cold outside, when you touch yourself, then you will see the body is warm. So we need that fixed temperature. If it goes up or down, it's like, then we're not well. So the body has fire. The fourth thing is earth. This body is made of earth, and even when someone dies and they're being buried, look at the words we use. We say, matter is being returned to matter. Or we say, dust is being returned to dust. Where is the earth in our physical body? Our body demands things that are from the earth. For example, if you're anemic, then the doctor will tell you to eat spinach, beetroot, figs, etc. Where are all of these things coming from? They are grown in the earth. I know for a fact that those who are black-bodied people from Africa, Jamaica, etc., they are physically very strong. Where do they get that physical strength from? Because they eat food which is from the earth. Yam, green bananas, cassava, sweet potato. This is their staple food. And so we know for a fact that food which is given to us by the earth, it is very good for our body. Potassium, it's in banana, it grows in the earth. The earth is also called Mother Earth, means the mother provides. And so Our body is made of elements from the earth. Many of you might know that even babies, if they're left sitting, if you leave them on the ground or outside, and if they put some dirt into their mouth, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. The last element that the body is made of is called ether, or you would say space. There are parts of our body which oxygen or air is not necessary, but that gap, that space needs to be there. For example, inside our intestine, there's a hollow space, but it's not air or oxygen. Within our ears, there's a space. Within joints, our joints, if air or oxygen gets trapped there, it causes pain, it causes suffering. So we need to keep our joints lubricated, means there should not be any air trapped there, but there should be a space there. So our body is made of 5 elements, and it's these elements that it demands. Why am I telling you things about the physical body when you're on a course which is to do with spirituality? I am telling you because the principle that I've mentioned, whatever the body is made of, that is what it demands. That same principle applies to the being. It applies to the human. It also applies to the being, because the human and the being are separate. They are working together, and later on I will explain to you how the human and the being work together. And because they work together, we are called human beings. So now this question of who am I? Who am I? Ask yourself, write down the first thought that comes to your mind. Who am I? Am I healthy? Am I active? What am I? Am I anything apart from this physical body? Is it that I am born and I died and that's it, finished, everything over? Or was I something before I took on this physical body? And will I still continue after the body has been buried or cremated or you've departed from it? The body is called perishable. And the body is made of matter. So when we say matter is being returned to matter, that's exactly what is happening. I am separate. I means I, the being which is here. I pointed to this place a few times, even yesterday's session. Now your question might be, why does she keep pointing to this part? Because this part is where, behind these physical eyes, in the center of the forehead, behind, this is where the being resides. The being is an energy. Yesterday we spoke about thoughts. Where are those thoughts happening? 50,000, 60,000, and maybe on a chaotic day, maybe more. Where are those thoughts happening? They are not happening within the body. They are happening within the being. You might have used this word, and I'm sure you all have. I just want to be myself. Or I want to be with myself. Or you might have used the word from the very core of my being. The being is subtle. I used this word yesterday, subtle. And I'm going to define this word. Subtle means it's there, but you can't see it. For example, supposing I had roses. I have a bouquet of roses. I can see them. I can touch them. They are physical. I can crush them. But then supposing I say that please remove these roses. I am allergic to the fragrance or whatever. So the roses will be taken away. However, what remains? What remains is the fragrance. That fragrance, you cannot see it with these physical eyes and you cannot touch it, but it is there. That is the meaning of subtle. So this is what I was talking about yesterday when I said our thoughts are subtle. They are there. The being is extremely subtle, and we're going to call the being the soul. There are many names for soul. So the course that we're doing is called Raj Yoga Meditation. I would like to explain to you the aims of this course. The first aim of this course, if I was to put it very briefly, then the first aim is self-mastery. Raj Yoga. Raj means sovereign. Raj means king. And yoga means to connect or to join. And so, I am connecting with the sovereign, with the king, with the Raja. Who is the Raja? I, the being, am the Raja. I am the sovereign. I am the master. The being is primary. The physical body, the human, is secondary. The being takes on the physical body. It's not that the physical body takes on the being. So I'd like to ask the co-host to share the slide in which there's the option of who am I? What are the options we have when we think the question, who am I? Because if you can answer this question, you've actually won half the game, because that's what life is. Life is a game. So this is a very good slide also. If you go to the next one, who am I? Okay, stay here. Okay, go back one. Okay, so we are discussing the definition of Raj Yoga. Raj Yoga is a yoga in which I become my own master. Means I become a master of my thoughts, self-mastery. There are two things that we need to master. One is my thoughts, and second is my senses. Because our senses can also pull us. They can also drag us. They can also distract us. So firstly, I want to become a master of my thoughts and senses. Then, as we progress, this is a yoga, means it's a connection with the Raj. The Raj means God the Supreme. So if you're allergic to this word God, then I'm telling you from now that this word God will come up in future sessions. Now, the third definition of Raj Yoga, it's written, it's the highest of all yogas. You might find this a very arrogant statement, that there are so many yogas in the world, And how can I say this is the highest of all yogas? Why can we say that statement? Is because this is not physical yoga. I've not asked you to wear the yoga outfits or whatever. I've not asked you for a yoga mat or anything. This is a yoga of the mind, means we are exercising the mind. We are interested in our mental health. And like in physical yoga, hatha yoga, you're asked to do different postures and you're asked to hold that posture. So you're asked to hold it for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, etc. So here also, I will be sharing with you postures of the mind, and I'm going to ask you to hold it for 10, 15, 20 seconds, whatever is possible. And this will help us in our mental health. So yesterday I gave a few postures. I didn't call them postures, so maybe you didn't understand it to be like that, but I gave the posture. First one was, I am a peaceful soul. How long can you hold that thought? I am a peaceful soul. And so now, another posture I gave yesterday was, I am a being of light. So throughout the course, I will leave it to you to find out which postures suit you, which will help you in your mental health. So now we are progressing, and we still have to answer this question. We have to answer the question of, who am I? What is it that I identify myself with? What comes to my mind immediately when this question is asked? Who am I? Do I mention my surname? Do I mention my role? Do I mention my looks? Do I mention my bank balance? The list is endless. Do I mention the state of my health? I am sick, I am fit, or I am fat, or what? How do I define myself? It's very important that I understand what comes after the words I am dash. Why am I saying it's important? Because that will create your attitude. That will create your whole vibration. It will create your energy. So if I say I am sick, or I am unwell, I am hurt, I am unhappy, that creates our being. That tells me exactly where my thoughts are, what my state of mind is. And so I have to, the I am, you've got the I am, the word after the I am has to be something that is permanent. It cannot be taken away from me. So if I say I am fat, it's not permanent. I can become thin. If I say I am wealthy, it's not permanent. If I say I am a teacher, it's not permanent because I can retire. If I say I am married, also not permanent. The state of affairs can change. We live in a world where there is constant, continuous change, and we are not able to cope. For example, you can all see what's happening, COVID. Every day there are new rules and regulations. That now if you travel, you have to quarantine in a hotel, that you have to pay your own expenses. Every day there are new rules. So one thing is guaranteed, external change. However, the change it upsets us, it disturbs us, we fluctuate. Change is out there, but internally it creates chaos. It creates waste thoughts. So we need something permanent that we can hold on to, that we can go back to. We need something permanent, and that permanent then becomes our home base. That again and again we can touch home base, that this is the thing that doesn't change, it's always there, because we are looking for something which is stable, which is not going to be taken away from us. And so, if you can show the slide of what comes after who am I. So the co-host, the next slide, next slide. Okay, so this is just a very small list of how we identify ourselves. And then there's the next slide, and that is, these are all different names for the being. Some people use the expression third eye. Some of you might have heard the word ATMA. In Islam, they use the word ROOH, soul, spirit, being, or some people say the higher self, the eternal self, my psyche, the consciousness, energy. These words all refer to the same thing. There is no difference. It doesn't mean that spirit is different from third eye or consciousness. It's all the same thing. The word that I will be using throughout this course is, mostly I'll be using the word soul. Now, earlier I said to you, I would describe the relationship between the human and the being. So, how does the human and the being work? I've given some examples in this slide. The simplest example, the most easiest example that you can relate to is the mobile phone. The mobile phone, different sizes, shapes, makes, colors, all of these things, but the SIM looks the same. Everyone's SIM looks the same. I don't think I've ever seen a SIM card which looks different from somebody else's. But the mobile, every person looks different. The SIM is so tiny. Nowadays it's called nano SIM, I think, or something anyway. And the mobile phone, they just seem to get bigger and bigger. But without the SIM, the mobile is not that effective. So what contains the information, the phone or the SIM? The SIM holds all the information, the contacts, the email addresses, the numbers, everything is there within the SIM. And one thing you can do, supposing the mobile doesn't work, then from one mobile, you can remove the SIM and put it into another mobile, and it starts to work. Ditto the human and the being. The soul has the ability that when one physical body, when it leaves the body, I should say, then automatically and immediately, two things, automatically and immediately, it will leave a body and take on another one. It will enter another physical body. The next example I've given is costume and actor. When I understand that this, Shakespeare puts it very beautifully, Shakespeare says, all the world is a stage. And so if this world is a stage, who am I? I am the actor. Means I, the being, I, the soul, am the actor, and I'm wearing this costume. And look at the variety of costumes. Every single human being looks different. The costumes are all different. It's amazing. One person's features do not match another person. There might be similarities in twins, but even then, a mother will know who is who with her children if they're twins. And so, the variety of costumes, the variety of colors, shapes, sizes, there is so much beauty in the costume. But the soul, the actor, looks the same. And yesterday I mentioned, what does the soul look like? Even though it's subtle, even though it's an energy, the soul is light. I am a being of light. Now, one mistake that people make is they compare the light of the soul to physical light. It's not necessarily physical light that the soul is. One word which will help you to understand the soul, and that word is enlightened. I am a being of light, means I am light, but the light which I am is not physical, it's I am enlightened. When I get to know who am I, then I am enlightened. So the actor wears the costume and it plays its role whilst wearing that costume. So another sentence I will give you, I am a soul playing a role on this world stage. Now, if you watch movies, which I think we all do, then an actor comes onto the stage, an actor comes to the set, he's given the costume, he wears the costume, plays his role, and then when his role is over, he leaves the costume behind and goes home. This is exactly what we do. I come onto this world stage, I, the actor, the soul, come onto this world stage. I am given the costume on the stage. Means this physical body is created in the mother's womb. The costume is given to me on this stage. I wear the costume, I play my part, I play my role, and then when it's time, when my role is over, I leave this costume and go and get another costume, or I go back home. So that is the relationship between the human and the being. Another example I will give you, car and driver. The car might be the latest model. It might be, the Mercedes or whatever you want to call it. However, it cannot function without a driver. So the driver makes the car move. In exactly the same way, when I, the soul, the driver of this physical body, this physical vehicle, when I'm seated in this physical body, then the body moves. Then the mother will say, if she's pregnant, she will say, I felt movement because that driver has entered the vehicle. That driver is now sitting in its seat and it is making the vehicle move. A question I have to you is who decides whether the car should turn left or right? Does the car decide or does the driver decide? Who decides whether to go left or right? You'll say, what a silly question. Obviously, the driver decides. In exactly the same way, who decides whether to think negative or positive? Who makes that decision? It's a being, the soul, which makes the decision. Within the thoughts, we make decisions. And so I can decide whether I'm going to turn left or right. Or, like I said earlier, whether I'm going to think negative, positive, necessary, or unnecessary. The last example on this slide is CD and CD player. I will only be able to know what is recorded in that CD when I put it into a CD player. Then I know what's in the CD. So the soul needs this physical body, it needs the human to express what is recorded within it. And so this is the relationship between the human and the being. And together it's called human being. So now we will move on, and I've talked about the driver, the actor, the sim, the CD. Let's take up the example of driver. The driver, when he's going to go somewhere, supposing you're going with your whole family, the driver will not argue whether it'll sit at the front or the back. Because whoever is driving, they know exactly where they are going to sit. There is no question where the driver will sit. There is a fixed place for the driver. In exactly the same way, I, the being, the driver, the soul, I also have a fixed seat. And that fixed seat is here. This is why it's also called the third eye. You have these two physical eyes, the third eye. Now the question arises, well, if I've got two eyes and I can see everything, why do I need a third eye? It's very beautiful. Why do I need a third eye? And what can the third eye see? What does it see that these two eyes cannot see? The third eye sees my inner world. It sees how much is going on inside. We all have an inner world, and that is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about our inner world and what it consists of. So, we will do that later, look at the inner world. But first we need to know why the soul is in this spot, here in the center of the forehead. I will ask one of our co-hosts, that not today because I haven't asked for it beforehand, but there is a film called Who Am I? It's a documentary, and it's available on the internet, and our co-hosts will put up that link. So if you have time, then please watch that film. It's very scientific, it's a documentary. Now, the being. Every culture, every religion, every person refers to this place. How so? Let's look at the different cultures, the different religions. Christianity, first of all. When they do the sign of the cross, where does their hand go first of all? Their hand goes here. They put their hand here first, then they do the sign of the cross. If you look at Islam, when they do their prayers, it's this bit which touches the ground, which touches the floor, And that's when they do their namaz. This bit touches the floor. If you look at the Sikh religion, when they go to the temple, they actually say the words in their language. They say, I'm going to Matha Tekna, means I'm going to bow. I'm going to touch the floor in front of the holy book. They don't just touch the floor anywhere. In front of the holy book, they do what is called in their language, Matha Tekna. If you look at Hindu women, then they also apply a tilak here. If you look at gurus, sages, saints from India, they also have some kind of, they'll do some kind of, apply something, some different shapes and sizes here. You might say, we don't believe in religion. We're not religious. All of these symbols that signs that you're saying make no difference to us. Fine. How many of you ever sat or ever hit your head here and said, oh no, oh God, oh damn, or maybe some other swear word or whatever, which I can't say. So we have hit this place. Oh, I forgot. And it's like our thinking capacity is inside our head. Now, a question which I'm not going to answer now, but I will do, is the brain is separate from the soul. The brain is also near the soul, and there's a reason for that. The brain also has what scientists say a left and a right side, but it has a completely different function than the soul. Sometimes you might have heard that somebody is brain dead, but physically they're still alive. Means the body is alive, but the brain doesn't work. It's possible. Means the soul is there, brain doesn't function. Another example I will give of this place is you've probably sat like this. You might have done this, or you've sat like this. And you've said to yourself, I need to think. And this is where our thinking capacity is. This place is very important. Why? Because it is one of the higher places. In this physical body, it's at the top. And so, the being, the soul, is the Raja, the king, the sovereign, or you could use the word chairman. When there's a board meeting in a business, then the chairman sits at the top and his workers, his employees or directors, whatever, they are seated down the side. A king also in his court sits at the top and his advisors or whatever are seated down the side. I, the soul, am the sovereign. I am the master. I am seated here at the top place, and my workers, the physical body, my senses are my workers. They are below. Another way of understanding all of this is that I am seated here and I give instructions. It's the soul that gives instructions for the physical body, to the physical body. I'll give you another example because I feel that I cannot give enough examples just so that we can grasp this knowledge. You have a computer, you have a computer programmer, and you have the software and the hardware. So, the soul is the computer programmer. It contains the software. It makes this body function. What is our software? Our software is our beliefs, our attitudes, our conditioning, our education, our thoughts, our inner world is the software. The hardware are things like the brain, the heart, the lungs, our organs. They are the hardware. This physical body is the hardware. I, the soul, can program, I can install whichever program I want. If I want to install a program of negative thinking, it's easily installed because anyway it's become a habit. Anyway, it's considered normal. I don't know if I'm wrong, but I have seen that people consider negative thinking normal. And so it depends on what program I have installed into my consciousness. So I'd like that the co-host shows the next slide, and then we'll see how much we have covered. And I will have a glass of water. I'm going to give 2 sentences, and I'll say them slowly so you can grasp them. Then I want you to think about these 2 sentences and see which sentence you feel is correct. First sentence is, I am a body and I have a soul. I am a body and I have a soul. Or, I am a soul and I have a body. Who is the owner? Who is the master? And who is being owned? So I'll repeat those 2 sentences. I am a soul. I have a body. That's one. And the second is, I am a body and I have a soul. Which one do you think is correct? Where is the soul in this physical body? Why there? Some of you might know, what's it called? Why has it gone out of my head? Where they do chakras. Yes, that's what I'm trying to look for. Chakras. So when they study chakras, then their whole process is to open the chakras, and they start from the bottom and they work their way up. And the highest chakra is called the crown chakra. And they say that when the crown chakra is open, then that's it, you're enlightened. In Raj Yoga, we don't do like that. We don't start from the bottom and work our way up. We don't have that kind of time. We are busy and we can't wait till it opens. We have to do it ourselves. So the crown chakra means enlightened. When I understand who I am, then the rest open automatically. You don't have to work on the base and all the other ones. You work only and only on the soul. So where is the soul? Why is it there? Because it's the driver, because it's the master, because it makes this body function. What does it do? We will come to that in our future lessons. What is the soul capable of? And when? When I'm in the physical body, when I, the soul, am in the body, then what am I capable of? When I, the soul, leave the body, then what happens? So I'm looking at the time, and I don't know if anybody else is. I'm looking at the time, and I would like that we progress now. And before we end, we do a few minutes meditation, because that's what this course is all about, meditation. Yesterday, I gave a few sentences. I gave the ABC of meditation. Means that whenever you meditate, apply or practice these 3 sentences. The secret is, and I mentioned it yesterday also, the secret is the speed. I'm going to give you 2 options. I'm going to say the same sentence in different ways. Then I'm going to ask you, and I know you won't be able to answer me, but I'm going to ask you, which one do you prefer? I'm not going to change the sentence, but I will ask you, which one do you prefer? Option A or option B? So option A, I'm a peaceful soul, 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 I'm a peaceful soul. Option A. Option B, I am a peaceful soul. I am a peaceful soul. I am a peaceful soul. Did I change the sentence? I didn't. But which did you prefer, A or B? I think majority will opt for B. Even though in A there was more quantity, the number of times I said the sentence was much more. In option B, it was said only 3 times, I think. But we preferred option B because the experience, the feeling we got from the second one was much calmer, much more serene, much more relaxing, much more beautiful. This is meditation. This is why many still feel they can't meditate even though they've done this course many times, because they're not working on slowing down the speed of their thoughts. And so now that's exactly what we're going to do. 3 thoughts. I am peace. I am light. I am consciousness. And I am here. So when I'm saying these thoughts, they're happening between these eyes, third eye. It's happening inside the being. The being is so tiny, and yet that tiny, tiny light has an inside. And that's what we're going to look at in tomorrow's session. But what does the being consist of? So, relax the body. I hope you all took notes. Relax the body. Calm down your thoughts. Focus. I am a peaceful soul. I am a being of light. I am the being in human being. I am the creator of my thoughts. I create each and every thought. I am the master of this physical body. I am immortal imperishable. I am powerful. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. So I'll see you all tomorrow, and we will arrange a session specially for questions and answers, but it won't be one of these sessions that we've already fixed, Monday to Thursday ones. It won't be any of those, but I'll arrange a separate maybe on Saturday or Sunday so that we can have some interaction, which I'm really missing, and I'm sure all of you would love to say something. And if you have any questions, hold on to them. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.